Racism is a belief that race is a fundamental determinant of a person's traits and the abilities they own. It creates a hierarchy where a certain race is considered superior to others. Racism is considered to be the systematic oppression of a particular racial group, so that the other group can have an economic, social, and political advantage. The psychology behind racism is evolving because things that were true in the 19th century are not true anymore. In many ways, what society thinks about racism has changed, but there's still some deep-rooted misogynistic people and their thoughts that need to change. Let's discuss the reasons for racism on a systematic level, personal or individual level. Number 14. Supremacy. White supremacist attitudes were often used to justify centuries of European colonialism in countries and continents like America, Africa, and Asia. The white man's burden phrase was used commonly during the 20th century to justify an imperialist policy. In the history of racism, it's seen that most white people believe they're above all. The reason being white people have affordable benefits in society. It's due to the system that it's built for their benefits and needs. Number 13. Cultural beliefs. Cultural beliefs are known to manifest the beliefs of society and customs that promote the assumption that products given by culture, which includes languages, traditions, virtues, are superior to other people's cultures. The belief shares a great deal with xenophobia, as categorized as the feeling of fear, or hatred which is perceived to be foreign or strange. The expression is used to create a perceived conflict between members of the outgroup and in-group. It manifests suspicion in other people's minds about the other group's activities and the desire to eliminate their presence. Cultural racism exists in areas where there is a widespread acceptance of stereotypes that concerns diverse ethnic or population groups. Cultural racism is categorized by the belief that one culture is inherently superior to another. Number 12. The blame game. Blaming others for every little thing is a natural reflex for some people. We have often heard it in statements like, "These illegal immigrants have come on our land and taken our jobs away." Society always looks for someone to shift the blame when things aren't going well. Talking about the history of racism, often minorities are put in that role to blame. To justify the unnecessary scapegoating, racial beliefs are used. These beliefs are known to add fuel to resentment and bitterness, which makes the already vulnerable people even more vulnerable. Number 11. Quick to judge people. People are quick to judge other people based on their appearances, personality traits, how they talk, their attire, how much money they spent. The media is also at fault for presenting the race in a certain way and persisting beliefs about the race. This kind of behavior is seen in students from an early age. When they arrive at a new high school, their first instinct is to form biased opinions about other students and try to figure out which one is cool, a nerd who gets bullied. Kids quickly acquire these assumptions, so it's important to teach them from an early age. There is a lot of generalization in these thoughts, where Asians are considered to be smart and nerdy. When these beliefs are not challenged, these lightning-fast judgments tend to have a significant impact on how people perceive others. Number 10. Categories and segregation. Human groups tend to categorize people based on their race from a young age itself, and it gives rise and promotes these stereotypes. When you're segregated from other groups, you tend to harden your opinions about them. Segregation from an early age can influence the development of racist attitudes, and their mindset gets firm about them. When you only grow up around people of your race, it narrows your mindset. Think about these experiences might have shaped your beliefs about other people. Number 9. Inbuilt hierarchy and power. A hierarchy system gives people power as it assigns them wealth and makes them the dominant group. According to studies, most white Americans think they're superior to other groups. The power allows white people to society according to their needs and benefits only them. It permits them to create a society that is considered to be culturally acceptable, and the standards are set according to their race. Since they control the resources, they have full power and are allowed to exploit other people. They assume they dominate others based on racist beliefs and divide. The power creates a divide and inbuilt these beliefs on generations to come. Number 8. White privilege. White privilege is a concept that states the unfair societal advantages white people have over non-white people. The concept is so persuasive that it exists through society in all major institutions and systems, and it also exists in interpersonal levels and creates a significant divide. The term has a long history, but people notice it more when recent events shook the world. The tragic death of George Floyd resulted in a Black Lives Matter movement, which made people realize the concept is so deeply rooted. The incident depicts the divide of power, benefits, and other advantages that are unequally distributed in the system. With all due respect to white people, their privileges only rest with them. Number 7. Interaction with same belief groups. Interacting with people who share the same beliefs and ideas is the root cause of racism. Studies show that people who surround themselves with family and friends of the same race are likely to share those beliefs. So-called positive generalization is harmful, and it creates difficulties to challenge people who are not a part of a diverse community. If you don't come out of your shell, racism will continue to exist in the upcoming generations. Number 6. Discrimination. Multiple policies discriminate against people by race and keep them in the poverty to reinstate racist beliefs. Housing laws are known to be a prime example of inequality. Many laws have kept black people away from acquiring and owning their houses. Certain neighborhoods locate them to areas that have lower quality housing. The biggest flaw in the discrimination policies is preventing them from accumulating wealth for the future. Society has somehow justified these beliefs that black people only live in these circumstances like low-income, crime-reported neighborhoods, and it's their choice. No one talks about the fact that these policies were imposed and enabled to stop the livelihood and growth of the black race. Number 5. No one challenges racism. One important reason that racism still exists to flourish is that no good people are ready to challenge the system. Most people claim they don't like racism, but the real reason is they fail to understand it. White abolitionists did fight against slavery, and they never protested against the unfair laws, societal beliefs, and habits that are keeping the black people from living an equal life. A systematic change in society is the only solution to abolish the systematic nature of racism. Number 4. Scientific racism. In the past, many intelligent historic minds have supported racial beliefs. We think ignorance is the cause of racism, but science is also somewhere believed to be at fault. In the 18th century, when science replaced religion, it also destroyed the superficial beliefs of society. Logical thinking came into power, and humans started making intelligent decisions. It was science that justified many racial beliefs like mixed-race children are likely to suffer more health issues than the other groups. It also indicated those children will have a shorter lifespan. This kind of scientific racism is called junk science. The belief it relies on are physical anthropology and craniometry. Number 3. Status quota. Status quota is claimed to protect racism. It's a justified way of keeping the peace or wanting to maintain law and order. Racist ideas have been used for a long time to suppress the resistance towards racial inequalities. When people start believing in racist things, their mind goes to many ideas, like black people are dangerous and violent. Due to this, they're not disturbed by the police brutality or massacre of black lives. The only people who benefit from such irrational beliefs are institutions that prop up discrimination, or else society will rebel against the status quota. For them, peace is more important than people having equal rights and justice. Number 2. The representation of media. The media creates the biggest impact on how it represents a race and sets the thinking of society. The media is known to be a representation of culture at large and also keeps the stereotypes alive. It is at fault to add fuel to the beliefs of racism. Even though its racist remarks are subtle, it does have an incredibly negative impact on the audience. Black men are often overrepresented as the reason for violent crime, and they're often used to portray stories of poverty. All this affects the views of black people, and society creates a perception about them. Number 1. Failing to recognize the cause. Many people believe that racism only exists among black people and looks like slavery, categorization, negative comments, and blatant references to the race. People don't recognize that if someone is not wearing a white hoodie or using racial slurs, they're not racist. People fail to identify that the problem lies within themselves. The solution to this is we recognize this failure, accept responsibility, and the reason why racism is persistent. If you liked the video, do consider subscribing to our channel and let us know in the comments below how we can battle the reasons for racism.